We'll go back in time in this video to examine some of the most intriguing Sumerian texts that have ever been translated. They relate the legend of Enki, the deity of water, knowledge, and magic, and how he was involved in the Great Flood that wiped out a large portion of humanity. Around 2000 BC, 1,000 years before the earliest stories of Noah's deluge, this myth first appears in the epics of Atrahasis and Gilgamesh, casting doubt on the veracity of the later biblical account. However, this incident is surrounded by a number of historical puzzles and competing theories, just like many other old tales. Enki, according to the Sumerian writings, made a special wish for the memory of the flood to endure. However, why would the deity of wisdom and water have such an odd wish? We learn from the plot development that some Anunnaki decided to remain on Earth during the flood, while others departed for their home planet of Nibiru. What led to this conflict between them? Was the flood not the subject of debate? What were the leaders trying to conceal when they swore silent oaths? What did they hesitate to say? We also read about Marduk being saved, receiving a new body, and being transported to live in peace on another planet. Is this really a fiction, or did the Sumerians of long ago have knowledge that we haven't yet uncovered? As we analyze the ancient documents and the enigmatic events they depict, we pose the following questions to ourselves. Was the tale of Enki and the flood more complicated than what is now known? Were the ancient Sumerians initiated into a body of knowledge that is yet unknown to us? Biblical anthropologist Ryan Moorhen has devoted his career to studying the prehistoric Sumerian writings. His research provides fresh insight into some of the most intriguing mysteries in human history. He puts together hints from these old works and develops conclusions that contradict accepted historical notions. To learn more about this extinct civilization, Moorhen has painstakingly researched ancient artifacts and translated ancient manuscripts. His findings have drawn criticism since they contradict many deeply held core ideas about the beginnings of human civilization. Ryan, though, is unwavering in his pursuit of the truth and does not waver. Let's explore his research in the story of Enki and the deluge written more than 4,000 years ago that has been decoded. Enki's desire for the flood's memory to endure. Enki, the Sumerian god, expressed an odd wish. He desired a devastating flood that would wipe out all life on Earth, leaving only its memory. The other gods were taken aback and perplexed by Enki's request, but Enlil, their brother and the head of the Anunnaki gods, did not agree. When Ninmah, the goddess of creation, was the center of attention, she declared that her life's work was on Earth and that she would not abandon the people she had made. Infuriated by the abominations of the humans, Enlil was enraged by her remarks and proclaimed that they should die for their transgressions. Enki and Ninmah both believed that humans were a magnificent creation that was the outcome of their labors. He made the case that they gave ape-like laborers the chance to procreate and gave them wisdom. He reminded his brother that they had all of the Creator's abilities. Enlil declared that notwithstanding their differences, all leaders must firmly promise to permit the course of events to be as he desires. Enki was moved to want the flood's memory to endure because he perceived that people are more than just a failing race. He believed that everything would be resolved if only a small number of religious and rational people managed to survive, retain the horror of the flood in their memory, and learn from what had happened. This raises concerns regarding the nature of the gods, our connection with them, and how they perceive the cosmos. We keep looking into the questions. A few Anunnaki decide to remain on Earth. Some of the Anunnaki chose to remain on Earth as the deluge drew near. They thought they could withstand the crisis and keep governing humanity. However, even for these powerful creatures, the floods proved to be too powerful. Many of them finally perished as they struggled to survive as the flood engulfed the world. Those that survived had to change their lifestyles to fit into a new world where humans were the dominating species. Despite their best efforts, they discovered that in this new environment, their skills had been lessened. The Anunnaki become increasingly covert over time, working behind the scenes to exert their power over humanity. As time went on, the gods and goddesses who previously reigned were reduced to mere memories in the eyes of US men. Numerous academics think that the Anunnaki not only still exist today, but also control the trajectory of human history. Even if there is no hard evidence to back up this notion, it is nevertheless a tantalizing possibility that drives research and curiosity. Different species were kept in storage by Enki and Ninmah. Enki and Ninmah were not content to only save humanity from extinction as the oceans continued to rise. To help the Earth survive once the seas subsided, they also set out to protect a wide range of animal and plant species. Some evidence implies that other Anunnaki members assisted Enki and Ninmah in this mission, working feverishly to gather and preserve as many species as they could. At Enki's command, Atrahasis constructed a massive ship and filled it with everything from ants and beetles to elephants and giraffes, meticulously regulating the environment on board to give each animal the greatest possible chance of surviving. Why Enki and Ninmah were so committed to the preservation of such a wide range of creatures is not totally known. Others say they may have had more pragmatic concerns in mind, while some claim they just thought it was their duty to defend all life forms. According to one intriguing explanation, they actually toiled to develop a new ecosystem on Earth that was more suited to the post-flood conditions. They wanted to bring in a new, more robust ecosystem that would flourish even after a horrific global catastrophe by conserving a variety of species. Of course, we may never be certain of the exact reasons Enki and Ninmah took on such a difficult assignment, but it is undeniable that their efforts contributed to the preservation of several species and prepared the way for the ultimate comeback of life on Earth. Marduk's rescue. Enki and Ninmah came up with a scheme to free Marduk from his underwater prison as the waters started to recede. Marduk was put in the underworld as punishment for opposing the Anunnaki Council and working to save humanity. Enki was aware that they needed to take quick action to save him. To bring Marduk back, he sends his son Nabu into the underworld. He was able to locate Marduk and bring him to the surface, but he was seriously injured and only partially alive. By combining the DNA of Marduk's previous body with DNA from other creatures, Enki and Ninmah were able to give Marduk a new body utilizing their understanding of genetics. He was able to occupy his new body because it was sturdy and healthy. The Anunnaki Council still viewed him as a criminal, nevertheless, and demanded that he be put to death. Marduk had been adored by Enki and Ninmah during his stay on Earth, and they were desperate to save him. They devised a risky plan to take him from Earth and send him to a far-off planet where he might spend the rest of his days in peace. Other Anunnaki who were pledged to secret had to cooperate in order for the plot to work. As a result, the scheme was successful, and Marduk was spared from imminent death. When the council learned what had occurred, it was indignant. Enki and Ninmah were made to accept a silent oath, which barred them from telling anyone the truth about how they saved Marduk. One of the biggest mysteries in ancient Sumerian history is what happened to him after being rescued and then hidden. But this chapter suggests once more that it's possible for the Anunnaki to travel away from Earth and settle on other planets. Did they succeed in establishing life on other planets? Did they have knowledge that was beyond our comprehension? These are just a few of the queries we're still delving into. Leaders who have sworn a silent oath. A new era in human history is about to begin when life on Earth starts to rebound. Some views contend that the people was not fully informed of the circumstances leading up to and following the flood, and some leaders swore quiet in order to conceal the information. After the deluge, the Anunnaki who remained on Earth had to make a difficult choice. They had to choose whatever knowledge and technology to impart to the populace, as they had to start civilization from scratch. Some of them thought that without the help of intelligent beings, mankind should be left to evolve and grow on its own. Others that it cannot survive without their direction on its own. The leaders of the Anunnaki swore solemnly to preserve humanity from learning the truth. Certain information and technology would only be made public if it was essential for our survival. The whole knowledge of the Anunnaki has been kept a secret for thousands of years, with only a small number of initiates having access to it. While some contend that there is no evidence to back these claims, others cite antiquated writings and legends as evidence of their veracity. But don't you sometimes wonder how advancements in knowledge, such as discoveries and inventions, arise out of nowhere in our past? Are these discoveries simply the work of genius individuals, or is there something greater at play? Earth years are introduced, and sanctuaries and festivals are made. Enki and the other Anunnaki attempted to create a new order on Earth after the deluge. They developed festivals and shrines to commemorate the rebirth of life on Earth and the survival of many species. They also established the idea of Earth years. Enki taught the remaining people the idea of numbering years, which they used to keep track of time and commemorate various occasions. The Akitu festival, which symbolized the start of a new year and the rejuvenation of the land, and the Zagmuk festival, which honored Marduk's triumph over the forces of disorder, were among the celebrations. A reminder of the Anunnaki's obligation to preserve life on Earth, he also built sanctuaries dedicated to the preservation of various species. However, it is still unknown whether the Anunnaki did not introduce these ideas with more egotistical intentions, Did they not exercise control over human civilization and celebrate holidays on Earth to further their influence and power? The selection of a deserving individual to uphold civilized mankind in the aftermath of an impending catastrophe. The gods ultimately determined that a man must be chosen in the decoded Sumerian story of Enki and the flood in order to save civilized humanity from an imminent calamity. The candidate has to be deserving and upright in order to be trusted with the gods' secret knowledge. This begs numerous questions regarding both the nature of the impending calamity and the identity and credentials of the selected individual. Is what they have forecasted in the future a natural calamity or something else? And who is regarded deserving enough to continue the gods' legacy? Some people think that this candidate was a metaphor for the human race as a whole, while others think it might have been a real historical individual. However, a constant element in the mythology and religion of different civilizations is the idea of a chosen one tasked with maintaining the knowledge and ideals of a higher power. Perhaps the narrative of Enki and the flood serves as a lesson, showing us that our actions have repercussions, and that we should make an effort to live up to the trust and knowledge placed in us. Or maybe it's a call to action, telling us to get ready for the challenges that lie ahead, and strive to be the best versions of ourselves, so that we are prepared for whatever is in store for us. Whatever the interpretation, the tale of Enki and the flood continues to hold our attention and inspire us to think about the enigmas of the past and the prospects for the future. Please click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss a new movie. Thank you for watching.